Hello, my name is Dr. Johnson Iyilade, and in today's career empowerment, I'll be talking about 7 tips on how to write a great resume for data roles. 7 tips on how to write a great resume for data roles. Now, when you are looking for job, the first contact that the employers have with you is through your resume. And when you are looking for a data related role, applying for jobs and getting the job is not really easy. It's really a fun task. So you must make sure that you brand yourself properly, and you must make sure that your resume is well structured, well formatted in a way that attracts the attentions of those that you are targeting to work with. So your resume is the first layer in the entire process of hiring that will determine whether you'll be invited for interview or not. And if you are not getting interview requests, then it probably means that there is something that is missing or that is not well properly put in your resume that you need to know about. So when you have your resume now, when we talk about resume is different from CV. Okay, for those who grow up in Nigeria or in Africa generally, a CV is a long information. But when it comes to resume, it is just a 1 page or 2 pages document that describes who you are and what you do and what are your skills and what are your experiences and knowledge that you have. So a resume is just a brief summary of your personality, education, and professional qualifications, and also the work experience that you have. So writing a brief resume describing your experience sounds like something that will be very simple and easy, but unfortunately it's not. It's a big struggle for many. And the reason for that is human beings, when we have to use a small description of something, it's always tougher than when you have to use a long description of the same thing. So here are 7 tips that you can bear in mind when you are putting together your resume for data related role. Now, this can apply to any other field as well, but my focus is more on data related role, whether you are a data analyst looking for a job as a data analyst, or you are looking for a data science role, or machine learning engineer, or data engineer, or any data related role. These tips will help you to put your resume properly. Number 1 tips that you have to bear in mind is that you have to keep it short and brief. Keep it short and brief. That's the first tip that you should bear in mind. Now, when they are looking at your resume, because it's a resume, usually a resume is about 2 pages. So when they are looking at your resume, the person that is reviewing it, they receive a tons of job applications. In fact, in most cases, when you look at jobs that are posted, the moment they post a job, within one day, they will probably receive over 100 applications already. So how would your own stand out? They don't have all the time to read so many pages of your resume. They can only have a few minutes. In fact, maybe just like 30 seconds or 1 minute to review it. So if they are reviewing your resume, you want to ensure that it's not too long, because if it is too long, they will not have time to read it all. But if you can just summarize all your experiences within 1 to 2 pages, that will be good. So keep it short and brief, because the recruiters or the hiring managers, they don't really have a lot of time to review it. They only have a few short time to look at it. So make sure that you make it short and brief. The second tips that you should also bear in mind is that you need to find a good resume template. You need to find a good resume template. Now, the look of your resume is as important as the content that you have there. In fact, the psychology of human behavior is that people will judge you by your appearance first before they assess the content that you have. So it is based on how something looks on the outside that determines the attraction that it gets. So make sure that you have a good resume template that will attract the attention of people that are hiring. Because when your resume stands out and it looks good, well formatted, the text are good, the text that you use are good, and it's well formatted. You highlight the ones that need to be highlighted and so on like that, then it will attract their attention. So you need to find a good resume template and ensure that you use that template. So that's the second tip that you should bear in mind when you are putting together your resume. The third tip that you should also bear in mind is that you have to customize each of your resume to the company's job description. Okay, so now before you start putting together your resume, you need to do a market research to know what the market is looking for and to have a template that reflects what the market is looking for in your resume. But there might be one or two skills that a particular company is asking for that is not stated in your resume. Now, if they make it in the job description that you need to have that skill, then that skill must be in your resume if you want to be invited for interview. So you need to notice the keywords that they put in the job description in terms of the hard skill and the soft skills that they are looking for in the job posting, and ensure that your resume actually highlights that in your resume, because that would be what would attract the attention of the people that are hired. In fact, in most cases, they actually use ATS to filter through the resume before they decide who is going to be invited for interview or not. So if you don't use the right keywords that the job description is talking about, then you will likely not get the job. So customize your resume to the company's job description, even though you already have the template, but still make sure that if there is one or two skills that is missing in the template that you have, add it to it before you submit the job description. Number 4 tips that you need to also bear in mind is that you need to double check your contact information. You need to double check your contact information. So in your resume, you have your name, headline, and contact information, okay, at the top, not below. You don't put it below. It is the first thing in the top. So your name, the headline of the role that you are looking for, and the contact information, okay? So you do not have to put the whole physical address in your resume. You don't have to put your exact house address in your resume, because that can be very dangerous. So all you need is just indicate the city and maybe the province where you live. So let's say, for example, you are in Ontario and you are living in Toronto. You will just say Toronto, Ontario in your address. You don't put the exact address. Say, oh, 751 Glomacs Street, Toronto. No, you don't put the exact. You can just put the street or the state, the city where you live, and then the province where you live. That is enough for your physical address. Now, the other thing is you have to put your phone number, okay? Then you have to also put your a professional looking email, okay? Don't put garbage kind of email address, something 123 and so on, that is not really very intuitive. You can put your first name, last name, or your first name at gmail.com, something like that. A name that is very, very intuitive is very good, because all of these things, employers can use it to judge you when they are reviewing your resume. And when you are also putting it together in terms of your contact, put in your LinkedIn profile. Make sure you have a LinkedIn profile and put your LinkedIn profile, because usually before they hire, they will also check you on LinkedIn. And then the headline that you are going to use, in the header in the headline, you should use the role that you are targeting, not your current job, not your current role. So if you are working maybe as a chef right now, but you are targeting data analyst, the headline that you put there is data analyst, business intelligence analyst, something like that. You don't put it there and say, I'm a chef. No, it's not your current role that you should put in the headline. It is the role that you are targeting that you put in the headline. So double check your contact information and be sure that you put the right information and you are not sharing too much information that the employers doesn't have to know. So don't put your age there, okay? Because some people in some countries, they put age in their stuff. Don't put age there. Don't put your date of birth there. All you need is your name and then a headline that defines the role that you are trying to target, and then your contact information. Your contact information should just be the city where you live and then the province where you live in Canada. So don't put the detail of your contact information in your resume, and make sure that you also add your LinkedIn profile as well. So double check the contact information that you have and make sure that it fits into that. Number 5 tips that you should also bear in mind is that you have to highlight your work experience. You can label it experience or professional experience. So you need to highlight your work experience. So your most recent job should be the one that is on top. So it goes top down. Okay, it's in a chronological order. The most recent is on top, and then all the other ones go below. Now, if you don't have too much experience in the role, if you don't have too much experience in the field, if you are not an experienced person in the field, don't go beyond maybe like 6 years in your experience. Make sure that it's very short. Okay, so and if you have a gap maybe in your work experience, that is maybe you lost your job, you didn't have a job, and then it goes beyond 6 months, make sure that you find something to fill in that gap, because sometimes when they see that you are not employed for more than 6 months, they can judge you based on that. So if you are writing your resume, each entry should include the job title. When you are writing the work experience, it should include the job title, then the company that you work for, and then the period of time that you hold that position, and also make sure that you highlight the accomplishments that you have in that role, not just the job description or the job title or the day-to-day work that you do. No, what are the accomplishments that you accomplished? Oh, I was able to help them increase their revenue by 50%, something like that. Highlight the accomplishment. It's very important. Okay, they want to see what you actually achieved, so that they know that when they bring you in, you are going to bring the same kind of value to the organization. So if the work experience you have in the past is not relevant to the job that you are applying for, then don't put it on your resume. Don't put it on your resume. You can just put the title or whatever it is. Don't go into the details of what you did on that job if it's not relevant to the work that you are trying to get. Okay, so I like the work experience. That's another tip that you should bear in mind. Number 6 is indicate your education. Okay, mostly in the data field, your background or education is not a major factor, but in some cases they ask for some educational degree. Like if you are looking for a data scientist, they might say, oh, you must have a master's or a PhD in a certain domain. But for data analysts, the education that you have is not really the big factor. But still, you still have to list your education and your degree in there to indicate that at least you have a bachelor's degree. So you have to list your education and highlight what degrees you have. Don't list certificates or whatever that you do, the trainings that you do in that education section. You can put it later, like certifications and experience that you have. You can put it later, but it's not part of the formal education that you have. Okay. Finally, the seventh tip that you should bear in mind is that you must list your relevant skills and the tech tools that you have used. List your relevant skills. Now, your skills can be hard skills and it can also be soft skills. So don't push them together. List the hard skill that you have. What are the environment that you are working? What are the tools that you use? You use Power BI, you use Tableau, you use Excel. List all those hard skills. Okay, list all those hard skills. And then you can also list the soft skills as well: communication, teamwork, and so on. All the things that they are asking in the resume. Make sure that you have it, because if you don't put all of those things, then they won't know what your experience and knowledge is, or how your experience and knowledge is relevant to the job role that you are looking for. So this is very, very key. So these are the tips that you should bear in mind. So when you are looking for job, it is very important to bear all these 7 tips in mind. Number 1 is keep your resume short and brief. Don't make it too long. If you don't have so many years of experience, don't let your resume go beyond just 2 pages. 1.5 is the best, but don't let it go beyond 2 pages, except you have so many years of experience in the field. Okay. The second thing is find a good resume template that you can use, because branding is very important. Number 3, customize each of your resume to the company's job description. Whatever the company is asking for that is not reflected in your template, make sure that you add it. Number 4, double check your contact information. Make sure that you don't put detail of your contact address. Just put the city and the province where you live, not exact house address, okay? But also include the name, or your name, your headline, and then your LinkedIn profile, okay? Number 5, highlight your work experience. You have to highlight your professional work experience in a way that attracts the attention of those who are hired, by highlighting the value that you deliver, the accomplishment that you make in the organization, not just the role. You don't just list the role that they assign to you. Actually, what is the impact that you make? Because that's what the employers are looking for. Then your education as well. List your education. Now, don't mix it with maybe any degree that you, online training that you do, the certificate that you have. Those can come later as extra add-on. Okay. Number 7, list your relevant skills and tech tools that you have used. Okay. Make sure that you list the hard skills that you have, and then the tools that you have used. Okay. It's very important. And then the tools that you use, and also list the soft skills that you that is being asked for that field as well. So I hope this helped you. So if this helped you, please like it and share it with others so that they can benefit from this information. All right. Looking forward to seeing you in my next video.